Welcome to another video. My name is Amsterdam Geek, aka Michael Minnebo, and I'm a journalist and I write about comics and popular culture. And I also wrote, hold on, this book, My Friend Spider-Man, Superheroes, Geeks and Fan Culture, which is only available at the moment in Dutch. But I just wanted to show you guys this because I'm catching up on my Spider-Man comics. I'm also recovering from the flu, that's why I sound a bit odd, maybe. And I also have a sore throat, so please bear with me. And it's also the reason why I haven't uploaded any videos ever since the last one, which was over a week ago. But I'm catching up on Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man, written by Chip Zdarsky, and with art by Adam Kubert. And I think so far so good, but I don't want to discuss the stories at length. I don't want to spoil them for you, but my problem was after reading Dan Slott for a while, I had to quit reading new Spider-Man comics because I thought Slott was doing such a horrible job. His stories gave me ulcers, and so basically I had to stop reading them because he pissed me off so much for screwing up the character so much. So these stories by Chip Zdarsky do take place in the last part of the Dan Slott era, and the era was about 8 years of stupid stories, as far as I'm concerned. But I like the Chip Zdarsky stories because they take place in New York and they're a little bit more down to earth, and Peter Parker is a little bit less of a moron in these comics than when Dan Slott writes him. Actually, there's some nice twists and turns in these comics. But I wanted to discuss with you the cover by Adam Kubert of the first trade paperback Into the Twilight, which contains these issues of Peter Parker. You can see me in the reflection. Hi guys, this is me. I really like this cover by Adam Kubert because of a couple of reasons. First of all, this is the classic shot you remember of superheroes tearing up their shirts to become, their super secret identities. We've seen this in the Superman movies, for instance, with Christopher Reeve, and it's like a comic trope that's very familiar. But what I liked about it, I was looking at the cover for a longer time, and then you notice all of a sudden that there are stains on Peter's shirt because he's a sloppy eater basically. And after checking those out for a second, I noticed they were even on his suit. So the funny thing about that is, of course, although Spider-Man is a superhero, he still bungles up every once in a while. He screws up every once in a while, and I think that was represented by those stains on his shirt. So that's a nice addition to the overall design of this cover, which is a great cover, I think. Because at one point you think, wow, that looks very heroic because all superheroes have this pose, right? It's a classic pose. And then if you look at the details, you can see, well, whoa, wait a minute. Maybe this guy is not as heroic as he wants to be, as we want him to be. So I thought it was made this a very clever cover. As you can see, the cover refers to a scene in the book in which Peter and MJ are having a sort of a dinner date, and Peter spoils his food on his shirt. This is still before Pete and MJ became a couple again, by the way. And she was running Stark Enterprises. And there's another one on the inside I want to show you by Paulo Siqueira, and that's from Peter Parker number 6, Spectacular Spider-Man number 6. And that's an interesting storyline in which J. Jonah Jameson, who we all know and love basically, gets to interview the Amazing Spider-Man for an hour at his place, at Jonah's new place. And that's what this cover by Paulo Siqueira represents. I think it's a great cover. It's inked by Rachel Rosenberg. And I also like the fact that Paolo drew Spider-Man in his original costume, because I don't like the modern new costume, the Dan Slott costume at all. But this is his classic threads, designed by Steve Ditko. I think this is just a wonderful illustration and a great cover, as far as I'm concerned. And the interview does take place in this comic book, and J. Jonah Jameson serves lasagna to Peter, and there's a major plot twist in this one. I'm not gonna spoil it for you guys, and I'm not really sure how I feel about it yet, because I haven't finished reading the rest of these stories yet by Chip Zdarsky. But as you can see by this cover, things are going pretty shitty for Peter at one point. Anyway, I'm curious if you're familiar with Chip Zdarsky's Peter Parker stories and whether or not you like them. And maybe also, who's your favorite comic book writer when it comes to Spider-Man? Very curious about that. Well, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next episode. Cheers!